go about constructing a game plan to deal with them tonight?
Well, quick turnaround against a very, very unique team. And to your point, they've got, big guys that do a phenomenal job offensive rebounding. And you would think that for front court players that rebound at the level and the rate, the offensive rebound, that they're playing close to the basket. But they're big men and facilitators of their offense and are at the top of the key, and they're handlers, they're distributors, they start on the fast break. Really, their offense is run through their centers. So those guys are very gifted and very talented because when they do roll to the basket, they get a lot of free runs. They're strong and they're physical. They can post up. So a lot to get prepared for in a very short period of time, but certainly it starts with keeping them off the glass and trying to put pressure on them, their bigs on the perimeter as they try to facilitate and generate offense.
I think fans marvel at Nikola Jokic, what he does, over 7 assists a game, 10-plus rebounds, and certainly has had big scoring nights. How do you minimize his impact on this game tonight? Do you have to get into his airspace and not allow him to touch the ball where he wants it?
I think that's important. I also think with him is, a lot of times tendencies for big men are to back off big men because most of the time the big men aren't shooting. He's a guy that does shoot threes, and you got to be up. But more often than not, bigs give him a little bit of a cushion. I think when you give a player like that a lot of cushion, it really, really promotes his ability to see the floor, to make passes, and to create opportunities for others to score. So we've got to be up there and we've got to pressure him. We've got to make the timing of what he wants to do offensively a little bit off. The further we can push him out, the easier it is for our guards to get over some of those screening actions that they run. So there's a lot that goes into defending him because he's very crafty, skilled, he's smart. He'll fake things, he'll up and under, he'll shot fake, he'll try to draw fouls. Same thing with Millsap, Plumlee, all those guys up front. They do a really good job on the offensive end of the floor.
And we've yet to mention their top scorer, that's Jamal Murray. He's really come into his own this season, had a huge 48-point scoring game earlier this month against Boston, and is a guy looking for his shot. And when it gets hot, Billy, he's really difficult to contain from that point forward. What's the game plan against him tonight?
Well, we can't give him airspace either. A lot of times he's running around on the perimeter, and what you don't want to do is get into situations where you're going under on screens and he's stopping behind to shoot. And the other part of it, too, is transition. We've turned the ball over in some halves that have hurt our transition defense. Our offense of being able to take care of the basketball so we can get our defense set, because when he's in the open floor in transition, that's where he's generating a lot of offense for himself.
Last night, a heck of a game. You wind up beating Charlotte 109-104, a quality opponent. They never went away when you made your big run to go up by 13 points. And you really had to execute down the stretch and got some big plays, specifically from Russell Westbrook, defensive rebounding and making free throws. But what did you take from that game from a teaching perspective and that you like that you need to build on tonight?
Well, I think there's a lot of things. To your point, this is our third game in 4 nights, so a lot of times there's no practice time. You're trying to get in the night before game to get some teaching points, some corrections done, but then you got to prepare for the next team. But there was a lot from that game against Charlotte that we can take from. I think the first thing is, over the last several games, our transition defense needs to be better.
Well, they say winning cures all. The Thunder have it going right now. Let's start with the backcourt of Dennis Schroeder and Russell Westbrook. They started together for the first time this season in their last win, but played just 18 minutes together. Can this backcourt work out long term?
Well, first of all, what an incredible trade Sam Presti was able to make.
Wow.
Not only did he make the team about $70 million cheaper this offseason after Paul George committed, that Carmelo Anthony deal, the way it all came together, they ended up getting what might be one of their 5 best players in Schroeder, and he has been really critical for them. They were able to go 5-1 in Russell's last absence when he missed 6 games, and in a weird sort of way, I think it was a blessing that Russell was injured because it forced everybody else to find themselves a little bit. Russell can be so ball dominant. Sometimes that's difficult to do when he's there. So I think they actually are better for the fact that he was out for a little while and everybody had to step up their game.
Yeah, I definitely think someone like Russ being out, it allows everybody else to grow, to your point. You can't just say, hey, Russ, win this game for us. Hey, Russ, go get the rebound for us. No, now other guys had to do some other things, and now that Russ is back, it's made the team better. And what they found out in the process is that Dennis Schroeder can really play. In Atlanta, it was seen glossed over some of his stats because the team wasn't winning. Now we're seeing that, hey, this guy really is a good basketball player. He wasn't putting up empty stats on a bad basketball team. Now he's doing it in an impactful way on this team. I think they can play together. I think they'll play off each other well. Both guys can of course, are good with the ball. But I just look at the pace and the way they're able to move. I think they'll be just fine. A lot of teams go with double point guards now anyway.
Last season, the narrative for the Thunder positively was their defense when they were playing well. Negatively was their shooting when it wasn't going so well. Well, right now, the Thunder have the second best defensive rating in the league. What are they doing well where that end of the floor, it's working out perfectly?
Well, I think for one thing, they're playing at their pace. They're playing at a pace they're capable of defending at. You're not seeing them getting blown by in transition on the defensive side of the ball because they're taking primarily efficient shots themselves. I am surprised that in the absence of Robertson that they're able to be this kind of defensive team, because I really felt like they were a wing athlete defender short of having enough, even in the presence of Robertson. Last year, they were stifling when he was healthy, and they struggled in his absence. They've done a remarkable job of dealing with that as well.
I think a lot of it has to go to the coaching staff, how they have everybody on the same page defensively, doing the things that they're supposed to do. I think a lot of the credit is when you have a big like Steven Adams. A big like Steven Adams makes everybody's life a lot easier. He hustles back, he sprints back on defense, he patrols the paint, he's always in the right place, he's making the calls. Something that you won't see in the stat sheet is when you have a big that likes to communicate and talk on the backside, it helps you cover up your mistakes. Hey, I'm over here. Send him to his left hand. Send him to his right. Send him to the baseline. We got a trap coming. Switch the screen. All that communication, it helps everybody because the guys on the perimeter, they can't see what's behind them. So when you have a big that's active and talented like Steven Adams and he's talking on the weak side of your defense, it can help make guys a lot better defensively.
And they also may have found something in Nerlens Noel.
Yes.
Because when Steven left the court last year, they really struggled defensively. Now when Steven leaves, they have that long, athletic, active defender that you're talking about.
Kind of similar to what the Lakers found with Tyson Chandler and JaVale.
Very similar.
Sounds like